What if Friday the 13th was actually given the Halloween Blumhouse treatment? Alright, now I've thought about this for at least a couple days now. And I was thinking, with what they did with Halloween, if they applied that to Friday the 13th, at what point in the timeline would they chop off and move forward with? And my theory was possibly they may end up doing it at the end of part 2. Now, this is going to be tricky because then you have to worry about, how does Jason get the hockey mask? Is Jason actually still alive? Or is he imprisoned? Or pretty much a bunch of other questions. The way I think it may play out is after Jenny is put into the ambulance at the end of part 2 and Paul is missing, they may end up doing it where Paul was the one, called the authorities, called the ambulance, and everyone is there, and Jason is possibly injured but on the run in the woods, and he can either escape or he can be captured. Now, if he's captured, you have to have some kind of way where he escapes, obviously. Now, with the way this could happen is I would not set it in the present day. I would set it 3, maybe 5 years after part 2. So that would put it around 1989. And Jason at this point has healed his wounds. He is still living in the woods. And you can start your new story from there on, with both Packanack and Crystal Lake being completely shut down. And now you have a killer that is still at large in the Crystal Lake area that no one has ever been able to catch. Now, what you do with the story after that is pretty much you would have to set Jason maybe in another area. Maybe they redo Higgins Haven and they redo a story with that, with all the characters possibly from part 3 and 4 collectively, and they retell somewhat of that story but in a different way, to where Jason doesn't actually get killed at the end of the events of part 4. So you have like Tommy that may injure him but doesn't kill him, and then you can carry on sequels from there of the hockey mask killer that's living in the woods that kills at random, and so to speak, and you can build on that story similar to, I guess, how they were planning to do with Halloween, because I heard they were planning to do a sequel, two movies back to back. But it can be tricky with Jason because you have to make sure you get the hockey mask on him, and then chopping the films down to the end of part 2, 3, or even 4 all could present very big problems if you want to keep it grounded in reality, because then you also have to think of the fans who might get angry that his body count is cut down way too short now too. I mean, look at the Halloween films that have been cut out when H2O and Resurrection came out. That dropped Michael Myers' body count down dramatically. Now, because of the timeline being so muddled from what they did with 4, 5, 6, and then creating a new timeline with 7 and 8, people just wanted Michael to go back to being scary. So now they're far more accepting of having a new Halloween 2 and disregarding everything else. With Jason, the fans are a little bit more rabid. What I would do, which I made a video of in my theories video, I would like it to pick up after part 7, where Jason is back down into the lake, unmasked. No one has found his body. No one has even found Tina Shepard's father's body. And I would like for it to pick up from there, using the same story plot points from the comics that I outlined in the theories video. But then you're dealing with a supernatural Jason. One that no one human will actually be able to defeat. And it can, from a storytelling perspective, become very pointless for certain characters. Well, I'm going to survive. I'm going to fight Jason, and he's ultimately unkillable. At least with Jason from part 1, well, not part 1, but part 2, 3, and 4, he had a human element to him. He can be hurt. He was stabbed in the leg and he felt it. That allowed Chris to actually get away, or at least to a point where she can get out of Jason's grasp. Hitting Jason in the head with the axe, that pretty much would have been her survival point. If you did that to Jason after part 6, that would have never worked. Jason would have killed her and dismembered her body and hid it somewhere. But once you start talking about scaling the films back, it's likely that Blumhouse will do what they did with Michael, wanting Jason to be more human instead of being supernatural. Having that lore that he was a kid that drowned to the locals, and for a lot of people he's still a myth. So it gives him sort of that supernatural boogeyman type aura about him, but he's actually just a deformed guy living in the woods, desperate for his mother to return. And pretty much you can run with that for a bunch of sequels until he gets killed again. But I could be completely wrong. They could pick up after part 8 and we'll go from there. Since at the end of part 8, apparently Jason was transformed into a kid. Whether that actually happened or not, that's a theory I did in a completely different debate. But overall, I mean, as long as we get an actual scary Jason on screen, I don't care. Just give me what I can. I'll separate the timelines. I mean, we already practically had to do it with the New Line films, since I believe in, I am fairly certain it's true that the New Line and Paramount films are completely separate timelines. If you don't think so, that's fine. Comment below, change my mind. But overall, I've rambled quite enough about this subject. Trying this whole non-scripted thing, so if you guys are really enjoying it, let me know. I'll start doing this for all my videos, and with no scripting, then pretty much that means a good little bit of content coming out a whole lot quicker. So let me know if you guys enjoy it, and if not, then I'll start scripting things out again and we can go from there. But until then, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as hitting the notification bell to be alerted whenever a new video is uploaded. And as always, I am JG Darhk, and thanks for watching.